you get stale.
Popcorn.
Popcorn.
You forget about things like stale.
Popcorn. Stale popcorn. Popcorn.
This is the
Stale popcorn.
Hello and welcome. This is the Stale Popcorn Podcast. I'm your host, Steven, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Christopher. What's new? What's good?
Steve.
I bet you're just backed up with announcements, aren't you?
Backed up. I'm
Yeah.
I'm taking laxatives. I'm trying to get these pushed out here. Last of Us Season 2. You seen Season 1, Steve?
I still haven't because I just haven't gotten around to it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Just haven't gotten around to it.
Really? If I recall, you were a fan of the franchise.
I'm a huge fan. We're on that Bluey train right now with my daughter.
So you're going to, once you finish that, you'll introduce her to Last of Us? Or?
Yeah, that's the natural next step.
Funny enough, I remember years back, you played the game and you loved it so much you forced me to play the game and you'd sit there and watch the game.
Very much so, yep.
But
like a proud father.
Yeah, the show not doing it for you, huh?
No, I have plans, I think, because I don't have Max or anything, so I might need to just get a free trial and shotgun them all.
Yeah, that's the move. That's coming out first half of 2025, so I'm excited for it. I enjoyed the show.
Nice.
Do you remember that hit film, The Fall Guy, starring Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt?
It rings a bell, yes.
It's already released on digital.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
Wait, came out like 2 weeks ago, didn't it?
Yep, it was in theaters for 2 weeks, and now it's already out on digital. Is this the world we're living in now, Steve, or what's going on here?
I guess. Because I did hear it didn't do well. Like, it's kind of a flop in terms of box office. And so if something happens like that, they're just like, all right, just put it on streaming.
If it's not making money, let's get it out of here. They're not pulling up Morbius
probably.
and like, hey, let's throw it back in theaters and wish for the best. People are loving this. It had quite a high budget. 125. It made 132, so yeah, not doing too great, but it's also only been there 2 weeks.
Wow, that's surprising. I think that's the fastest I've heard of going into streaming for a movie.
Yeah, I remember a couple of years back, you remember that film? It was some like Ben Stiller, Eddie Murphy, Tower Heist, I believe. You remember that?
Yes.
Terrible film. Didn't enjoy it, but I remember, it went to theaters and they were trying to just release it like, all right, you can pay $10, watch it in theaters, or you can buy it for $60 or rent it for $60 or something like that. That was their big plan. And then that never went through. I think they chopped that. Didn't work, but maybe that's where we're moving here. But yeah, it's kind of, you got the theater nerds that are like, oh, we got to see it in cinema. You got Nolan. He's like, you got to watch Oppenheimer in theater. Don't let it go to streaming. You got to let it breathe like a fine wine. And then you got people like me like, oh, wait a week and watch it for free on Netflix.
I'll watch it on my iPod Touch.
Yeah. So, yeah, it seems like that's kind of a theme going on.
Mm-hmm.
2 Pirates of the Caribbean movies are in the works.
Ah, man, I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see bloody Johnny Depp back in the role.
Oh, well, let me tell you, a reboot written by Jeff Nathanson from The Lion King, and a spin-off starring Margot Robbie
as Jack Sparrow.
I'm guessing Jack. I don't know.
Wait, 2 movies coming out. Are they reboots or just like spin-offs?
Well, one's a reboot, because that's what I literally just said. A reboot written by Jeff Nathanson. If you fast forward 10 seconds ago, that's what I said. And then a spin-off. So, remember those 2 questions you asked? I literally told you the answer right before.
Yeah, no, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Anyway.
So, yeah, you're a big fan of the films, huh?
I like the first one pretty well, and then they really kind of drift off in quality.
I still think the first 3 are pretty gold, and then I think the 4th one fell off. 5th one,
I forgot there was a 5th one.
I still enjoy a Dead Man, whatever the second one is.
Dead Man, don't get your tails all caught in your bunch.
Dead Man, I think that's the 5th.
Oh, the second one's Dead Man's chest. Too many dead men.
Because you see a lot of chests.
Yeah,
Dead Man's Chest, At World's End, I believe. Or Yeah,
And
those
then-
are both fabulous films.
The
if you
mermaid
ask
one.
me.
That's the fourth one. It's
Oh,
the Pirates
yeah,
of
that was
Caribbean
the
colon,
fourth. That
the
one
one with the
gets-
mermaids.
Yeah, it gets a little off rails there.
Yeah.
But
All right. Well,
All right.
well, whatever.
Glenn Powell, you remember him?
Yes. Maverick, Twisters, other
Says-
aviation movies.
Anyone But You. Did you ever watch that film? Anyone But You? Starring
Nah.
Glenn and Sid?
Nope.
It's on Netflix. It had offers from every streamer with guaranteed paydays and bigger budget. Quote, we said, if we make this on a streamer, it won't have any cultural impact.
Does it have cultural
That's-
impact?
You don't think 20 years down the line, this is going to be the new When Harry Met Sally or
I think
Pulp
once
Fiction?
Yeah, Pulp Fiction.
It's going to be
Predator.
Godfather Part 2. You don't see people talking about that film like that?
No, they'll study this in film schools. Be like, today's lesson we're going to be studying Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney's Anyone But You.
Yeah.
Nah.
In 40 years, when you're taking your college humanities class, instead of showing Casablanca, they're going to be new syllabus, anything,
but you.
anybody but you, followed by Madam Web here. And
Yeah. Oof.
did you know that Glenn Powell was in Spy Kids?
Yes.
3D?
Yes, I saw a few memes on that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
He's
good
the one
for
with the
him.
goggles. The nerd with the
Yeah.
goggles, yeah.
Kraven the Hunter
Oh,
was
yes.
delayed to December because Sony believes people will spend the holidays watching it, quote, over and over again.
Really? Is that? Who's going to go into Sony and be like, guys, listen, everyone's making fun of you. You don't get it. It's like they're tricking it's like they're tricking their grandma into buying him stuff. Like,
Yeah. It's kind of funny to me. People are just going to watch it over and over. It'll be like The Greatest Showman. Remember that winter that came out and everyone was raving and watching it and and over?
Have you seen a film multiple times in the theaters?
Greatest Showman.
So I
that
thought
like
you were
3
just
or
saying,
4
like
times.
in general. Okay.
That was Movie Pass.
You were one of those
so
nerds.
I was
makes
getting
sense.
free tickets. I think that's the only movie. Well, actually, I'd take it back. I saw Suicide Squad, I believe, 3 times in theaters.
The Suicide Squad or
The Suicide Squad? No, not the first one.
So the crappy
Sorry,
one.
when you say the, I thought you mean like that one. You know?
Yeah. See, this is what Warner Brothers messed up on there. We're trying to differentiate. I still don't know which one you're talking about.
That's pretty genius marketing. Like the Suicide Squad is pretty good, you know. But
Yeah.
I saw the first one. I remember the first time watching, I was like, "Oh, that was kind of fun." I didn't hate it like everyone else. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw it 3 times. I think I paid full ticket price for one, and then I saw it at a cheap theater for like $2. So, all right, still a couple months later, not bad. And then I watched it a week after, and it's just like that. I think it was a review for that from Letterboxd where the sexual tension between me and the exit door. Like I felt that on a spiritual level.
Then why'd you watch it 3 times, you goof?
I didn't hate it the first 2, but 3 times, that's my limit here. You know, fool me once, fool me twice, but that 3rd time, it really got me. How about you, Steve? You see anything multiple times in theaters?
Last one, I saw Top Gun Maverick twice in theaters. The other one, I saw Return of the King 3 times in theaters. I got a high bar. I don't just watch anything 3 times in theaters like you, Chris.
Yeah, I'd never seen any of the Lord of the Rings in the theater. It was too violent for my mother to allow me. So I'd have to, whenever they left, it was just like a ritual. The second they left the home, I'd pop in that DVD and get like a 1/4 of the way movie till I see the car pull it in, put it out, you know, dust off the cabinet, throw it in there, act like none the wiser. So, you know, after a few months, I finally seen the whole movie, you know, and then started up again. Benoit Blanc? Benoit?
Ah, yes. Knives Out.
Is it Benoit or Benoit?
I'm going to go with the first one. Silent T.
Returns in 2025.
Ah, yes. I love the Knives Out movies. I think the second one wasn't as good as the first one. But they're still good. They're still a good time.
Yeah, it's quite well, and I enjoyed the second one again. Not as good as the first per se, but still, I like a nice mystery, and it's pretty funny as well.
Yes,
it's not really an announcement, but just something I learned. Did you know that Angelina Jolie? Do you know who her father is?
It's John Voight.
Is that common knowledge?
I mean, I knew it.
All right. I'm just getting my mind blown left and right with all these nepotism actors here. Clearly getting an easy step, yeah.
I could just see you on the toilet looking through your Twitter, having a Hank from Breaking Bad moment, realizing that Angelina Jolie is John Voight's daughter.
Yeah, that's exactly what... You won't believe what happened when I found out that Chet Hanks is related to Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
That's all I got for announcements, Steve. You got anything going on over there?
I don't have anything in the way of announcements, but what I do have is a question, and that's what you've been watching lately.
I did watch some of the X-Men cartoon, 97.
Oh, okay. Sure.
I popped that on, I think, yesterday. It was just me and the daughter. Maybe a cartoon will entertain her, let her stop being as crazy, and it worked for a couple minutes, but I was actually enjoying it. I think I started it, like, when it first came out. It wasn't really for me, but they had an episode that involved the origin of Cable, and as a child, I'm a big fan of that. Man, Cable, I had Bishop, and I was always a time-traveling man as a kid, so, yeah, I think I watched up to episode 4. I've been watching that.
How many episodes are there?
10.
Mm.
So, yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll finish that this next week. I watched a movie called The Guest. You ever heard of this?
The Guest. Is that with Dan Stevens?
Yeah.
I think I have in the past, yeah. How was it?
You've seen it or you heard of it?
I think so. I mean, I know who's in it. I can see the poster in my mind.
It was not bad. I think I'd give it like a 3, maybe 3.5 if you take me out to dinner first. Or yeah. Okay. I don't think I watched nothing else now that I'm thinking. How about you, Steve?
Me and my wife watched a movie called The One I Love. It was on Freevee or Pluto, one of those free ones you can get on your Roku channel. But it's got Elizabeth Moss and Mark Duplass. I don't know if you heard of them. She's from Handmaid's Tale, Mad Men.
And he's
from other things.
Is he a guy from The League?
Yeah, I think so.
From Creep or whatever?
Yep, Creep and Creep 2. But it was really good. It's really interesting. So just a quick synopsis without spoiling, because I think you should watch it and tell me what you think. It's about a couple who's kind of having marital problems, so they go to a marriage counselor, and nothing's been really working. And so the marriage counselor, who's played by Ted Danson, he suggests going on this weekend getaway to this specific Airbnb that he has, take some time off. And they go there and they have a main house and then like a guest house on the side, and everything's going good. They're having a good time reconnecting as a couple. And one day the Mark Plas goes into the guest house. They find out that in the guest house, there's like different versions of themselves. So like kind of like an ideal version of their spouse that only they can interact with. And it's pretty interesting. So you'd love it for one reason only. It's an hour 20.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. And it's a thought provoker. It's kind of like after you watch it, you're like, oh, okay, that was pretty interesting, kind of thing.
What was that called again? I'm going to throw it on the old list here.
It's called The One I Love.
The One I Love.
2014.
Well, what would you give that letterbox, if I may ask?
Probably like a solid 3.5.
You ever see the movie Coherence?
Yes. I like that movie. Muchos.
That movie's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that a little, maybe. Does it?
It's different.
Not really. All right, fair enough.
The Coherence is more about like the supernatural, the paranormal kind of aspect. This is more of kind of like the relationship and marriage of it. It doesn't really focus too much on the gotcha, the MacGuffin sort of thing. I don't know.
You watch anything else here, Steve?
No, that's pretty much it, other than Furiosa. That's what we're going to be talking about. Chris, let's talk Furiosa, shall we?
It's not Furiosa. It's Furiosa.
There you go. Very good. Should get out of your system.
Did it work? I mean, I heard a little chuckle from you there.
No, it was very funny. We're talking Furiosa today. So how we're going to do it, we're going to talk a little bit about the plot without spoiling things, whether we recommend it, go into the bads, go into the goods, and then go from there. So, Christopher, if you don't mind, do you mind if I kind of break it down for you?
No.
You did see it though, right? You saw the movie?
I did see it, yeah.
Okay, good. Let's get for a bit. So if you haven't seen any of the other Mad Max movies, this one nestles kind of right in between, I would say, Mad Max Thunderdome and Mad Max Fury Road. It's a prequel to Fury Road that focuses on Furiosa, side kind of main character in the Fury Road movie. It takes place, I don't know, a few years before that. It's interesting because it kind of plays out more like a miniseries than a movie, if you know what I'm saying here. Kind of paced like episodic. It's split into 5 chapters, and it kind of follows Furiosa's journey from when she was a little girl to where she was at starting at Mad Max Fury Road. Yeah, it's kind of like 5 episodes, I'd say. It's interesting. It's interestingly paced, but different. If you're not used to that kind of pacing or a normal kind of movie, if you're really into that 3-act structure, this one will seem kind of jarring to you. It pretty much just goes from when she was a kid and her story and meeting Dementis, played by Chris Hemsworth, and kind of goes from there. So without spoiling anything, that's all I can really do. But Chris, what did you think of this one?
I thought it was, well. Now, if you were to ask me, it's going to be really hard not to compare it to Fury Road.
Sure.
Because, I mean, same director, prequel, and it's not as good as Fury Road, if you ask me.
Well, I did ask you, so yeah.
So, and I'm telling you. It's a little step down from there, because, you know, what I love about Fury Road is nonstop action, fast pace, moving along. It hits that 2 hour, it doesn't surpass, you know what I mean? That sweet spot here. This one's 2:30. Mm-hmm. So it's a little longer. If you're comparing it strictly to Mad Max, it's not gonna hold up to that caliber.
It's apples and oranges.
But if there was no Fury Road that I'm comparing it to, you'd go, wow, this is great action, you know? So I'm just trying to wipe that out the memory here, but it's a little different. This one's more of a revenge.
Mm-hmm.
It's a revenge thriller action, but it's still got great action scenes. I'd say I like the villain in this, Dementis, better than the villain in Fury Road. I thought Chris Hemsworth was the best part of the movie. I thought his character was the best character, and you could tell Hemsworth, you could tell he was having a heck of a time.
Yeah,
being
really chewing scenery there. Yeah.
Which, he's obviously a A-list actor, but you don't really think of him as, like, great at acting, would you say? I don't know.
Yeah, because most people know him from, he plays Thor, you know, the big, dumb, blonde guy. But he can act. He's got some chops in him, yeah.
Well, I never really seen him in other things besides, like, for a couple minutes, because even, like, Chris Evans, right? Mm-hmm. Captain America, but he's in, you know, Cellular, he's in all these other type of films, and you're like, he's a good actor, no debating that. But Hemsworth, he's in, like, Ghostbusters, Snow White and the Huntsman, like, you're not really known for great.
He's not really a character actor, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I thought he was amazing.
Yeah, totes agree.
The plot is interesting. So overall, I would say, like, a 4 out of 5. And I'd give Fury Road a 4.5. I'd say it's like, it's not as good, but it's still a really good movie. And if you were to ask me, this might be my favorite movie of 2024. Ooh. It's either that or Dune Part 2, if you ask me.
Well,
what do you think?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Totes agree with everything you said. Chris Hemsworth, great. I think I might like Dune just a little bit more, just because it's really focused on the sand of that movie, this one has some sand too. If you're a sand lover, Anakin Skywalker, stay away. If you know what I mean. No, but I totally agree. This one's really good. I would put it probably 4 stars too. I'd say it's just a hair below Fury Road for the exact same reasons you said. So that it is a bit long, but yeah, I totally recommend it. If you like Mad Max, Fury Road especially, I feel like this would be right up your alley. I'd say see it in theaters if you can.
I agree. I watched it in RPX. You ever heard of that?
What the gypsy is that?
Well,
Real person experience.
I think so, yeah.
Is it really?
I don't know. I got like 2 theaters in town. We got the AMC, which is a little cheaper, and we got the Regal, which is more expensive. But when you go to the theater, do you got those nice reclining, lay-back seats, or do you got them old school sitting up straight with like an airplane seat?
No, I got them recliners.
Yeah, I've been used to those recliners. I had those for years. Then I moved, and now this theater I've been going to, it's them not as nice. And so I was excited for this, and I wanted to get that real surround sound, nice luxury. So I switched theaters, go to Regal. I even signed up for their unlimited pass. So I could watch unlimited films in RPX.
Yeah.
So my chair's shaking. It's like I'm at Disneyland watching Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. You remember that, Ryan?
Yeah.
So it was enjoyable. I thought if you can see it in theaters, I would recommend. If you can't, it's not the end of the world, but it's kind of like a Dune Part 2. It's going to be more stunning in a theater. The sound's going to really pop.
Yeah.
In a theater and get real immersed.
But I will say this movie isn't for everybody. If you like Mad Max Fury Road, it's for you. But some people might not be on board. For instance, there's a guy here named Scrotus and another guy named Erectus. So that's the kind of movie we're dealing with here. Like for instance, my wife would hate this movie because she, like we talked about last week, she took one look at Mad Max Fury Road and was like, I'm a head out. But so yeah, if you're on board with this stuff, you like it. If not, then just you're either on board or not. That's all I gotta say.
But something else to add before spoilers, may I?
Yeah, I'll allow it.
I'm not a huge fan of prequels. Let me just put that out there.
Sure.
What was like a great prequel? Can you think of any?
Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Those ones are technically prequels. But well, I think I get what you're saying, where I think I had the same qualm, where it's like, nothing bad's going to happen to XYZ person because they're in this for future movie.
It's always an uphill battle for me because, again, obviously nothing's going to happen to Furiosa because she's in the next movie. Nothing's going to happen. You see this character, okay, well, he's not going to die. Oh, this person's going to be fine. Rings of Power, as great of a show that is. It being a prequel.
Don't you dare.
I was a little bummed. I want to see something in the future. I already kind of know what's going to happen before this, all right? I may not know exactly how they're going to get there, but I know point A, they're going to end up at point B, and you're just filling in the middle. I like to see point C, point D. Yeah. You hear what I'm saying, Steve?
I hear what you're saying, and I smell what you're stepping in. In fact, actually, I read somewhere that Furiosa was planned out before Fury Road. And they had plans to make Furiosa before Fury Road, but it just didn't pan out that way. And I think that would have benefited because Mad Max, like a direct Mad Max sequel to this one, would have been different, but I feel like it would have been better because of those reasons, because we know Furiosa's there and everything. I don't know. But I totally agree with you.
Yeah. But we can get into spoilers here, Steve, if you'd like.
I have a couple of qualms. There was a lot of fat that could have been trimmed. But again, if we go back to how it's structured, it is like 5 minisodes. And so when we first started off, we see, Furiosa in her beginning, and I was a bit perplexed because I was like, what are we doing here? This seems kind of long. The mom was like chasing them, and all that jazz. And I was like, let's just trim some of this up. But then as the movie went along, I was like, oh, okay. It's like Tales from the Wasteland. Like that's why. So at first I wasn't on board, but I got on board as it went on. But even that being said, some of it could have been trimmed down a little bit.
You already know that's always a con for me here.
Always.
It was 2.5 hours. It kind of feels like 2.5. It's not like as long as some 2.5 hour movies feel, but I will admit I checked my phone to see what time it is once the movie actually started, and there was 30 minutes of trailers. That was basically what I was seeing, how many trailers. And then they're getting towards the end, and they show up to, I believe it's called Bullet Town, before they get ambushed. Like,
yep.
4th act, 5th act, or whatever that is. And I was like, how much longer? And I looked, and I think that was 2 hours in. I did, like, at that point, I was like, all right, we can wrap this up. And there's still 30 minutes after that.
Yeah.
And the thing that I really love about Mad Max is, how can I describe it? Mad Max is like an exhale. It's just all payoff.
Mm-hmm.
Versus this, there's some payoff, but most of it is,
Build
what do
up.
you call that? Milking, cream. What are we talking here?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Milk. It's churning. How about that?
Oh, okay, sure.
Furiosa's churning, and Mad Max, it's into ice cream. You know, I'm licking it. I'm eating it.
Great analogy, Chris. Fantastic. No, I agree.
I think Mad Max to me is so good because it doesn't bother giving me backstory. I don't need to know why this guy's got nipple rings and bald and saying, wow, what a lovely day. Like, it just go in
It just
here.
is, yeah.
It gives you like 2-minute inhale. All right, calm down. Oh, back to the road here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I like in a film.
Mm-hmm.
Versus you got the other people, you can't just have cake. You got to eat your vegetables. You got to prepare the batter and all this. Yeah. And I'm like, give me the cake, man. I don't care for that. So this one, it's got a little more veggies, if you will. Huh?
Yeah. Very astute analogy, Chris. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thought real hard about that. Definitely didn't make it up on the spot here.
I totally agree. And with that being said, they churned a lot, you know, but with that, there wasn't a huge payoff at the end for me. Because I feel like the ending was more than slightly abrupt. It just was like, oh, that's it? That's all we're doing? Is interesting. But I was like, this whole 2-hour, 20-minute ride we've been on was built up for this moment. And it just wasn't as satisfying as I thought it could be. But that's just my opinion. Well, that's just one man's opinion, I'll tell you what.
Well, let me ask you this. Something that kind of bugged me. So Furiosa, gets traded over to Morton Joe because she's like a normal-looking kid, you know, and he wants to make her one of his wives.
Mm-hmm.
What's the brother, Victus or
Rictus?
Rictus?
Yeah.
He takes her, and then she runs away because, like, she acts like she's a boy or whatever, and, like, no one finds her. Like, you would think they would be doing, like, a search party for one of the wives, especially since Mad Max Fury Road, Morton Joe literally, like, stops what he's doing, has everyone go after, the whole movie is them going after these wives.
Yeah.
And this one, it's just like, oh, she escaped, and that's the end of it, you know? And it's not like she has shorter hair, but it's not like her face looks any different. It's just, you know, I just feel like
she's got mud on her face. That's the real thing, defining factor, yeah. No, I don't know. I hadn't thought of that, but I guess it was just like a oversight, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and then also adding on to you were saying in Mad Max how Nicholas Holt's character just kind of switches.
Yeah.
Goes with the, you know, pretty redhead on the drop of a dime.
As you do, yeah.
And this one, I feel like it even shows, because they have a scene where they pick a random war boy, and then he just, like, jumps up and kamikazes. He's like, they'll do whatever for me. Yeah. Which makes it make less sense. You know, Nicholas Holt's character just being like, all right, whatever, I'll switch sides here. Just giving you a little callback there, Steve.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah, how about you, Steve? Any other cons for you?
At times, it looked weird. I think it had like the Hobbit effect, where it looked too polished at times, I was like, this looks too glossy, so it doesn't look real, you know? Even though a lot of it was real, they did a lot of practical stunts and stuff. And some of the CG was like, oh, that's a CG model right there, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's a bit obvious there. The green screens were obvious, but minor things, you know? And we talked about it a little bit. I didn't love the ending. It's just kind of like a very abrupt. I don't know if you stuck around for the credits a little bit. Did you stick around just a bit?
I saw the, like, previews for the next movie where it sounds like she's gonna, like, take a rig or something.
Yeah.
Take the wives out. I'm excited for whenever that movie comes out.
I thought that was really weird how they did that. I was like,
just
they showed,
in case
like, the
you
whole...
didn't see Fury Road, I guess.
Yeah, I was like, you've shown the best parts of Fury Road. I was like, now I want to just go see that movie, which I guess maybe it was a ploy to work. But I was like, that's like if you had Star Wars Episode 3 ending, and in the credits you start playing bits of A New Hope. I was like, why'd you do that? Like, I don't know, it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
but,
you would assume people that were watching it knew what was going on, but maybe it'd been a few years. Like, oh, it's been a while. I forgot that they like take the wives and they're driving on a Fury Road. That's crazy. Thanks for reminding me.
I guess that's another downside of a prequel. Is like how well do you dovetail into that next movie? Because like if we're talking The Hobbit, it really like focuses on getting it right, mashed up perfectly in sync with Fellowship, and it's kind of distracting at times. This one had that a little bit, where it's like, okay, you see Charlize Theron at the very end with the wives, and I was like, I don't know if you really need to go that much into. I don't know. That's my opinion, but
there was a moment, and I think there was still like 40 minutes left in the movie, where she has her head shaved and she talks, and I thought for sure, because you just see the back of her head, I thought it was Charlize, and I was like, really? She's just going to be in it?
I thought so
half
too.
Of the movie, and then it turned to her. But yeah, I'd say the best movie, like a prequel transition, is probably
Rogue One.
Rogue One with the Darth Vader. Because that's pretty solid.
I used to think that, Chris, and I might. Can I tell you why I don't think that as much?
Why not?
It's because if you recall, Darth Vader, he has his battle and everything. He sees Leia escaping with the plans and everything, and then it perfectly dovetails into A New Hope. But when you get to A New Hope, Vader comes on Leia's ship, and he's like, "We're looking for the plans that you just stole because I saw you just steal them." And she's like, nah, man, I don't know what you're talking about here. I was like, I saw you with my eyes. So that's...
Well, it's an old movie. Who cares?
Yeah, I'll forgive that one, but that's okay.
I hear you there.
Yeah.
All right. You got me there, Steve. But as far as cons, I don't really got any others. Those are the main ones for me.
Definitely have more goods than bads, in my opinion. And jumping into that, some of the things that I loved about this movie is the design. I love the feeling of this weird wasteland. Everyone's looking weird and creepy. You got horned dudes on motorcycles with little jet propellers on the back, parachuting in. Love it. So weird. Love it. I love Dementis' little chariot of motorcycles. I thought that was cool. Loved how this one really expanded on more of the world, which I like. I think the coolest thing was the design of that big war rig, just seeing how that all works out and everything. So action-packed, great stuff. Good stuff all around. What about you?
I kind of have to remind myself, I talked about it earlier, but Fury Road is probably like a top 5 action movie of all time. Like some would even say it's like the best action movie. Like it's definitely... It's the Citizen Kane of action, probably, right? It's really naturally, good. Yeah. It's like if John Wick 5 came out and the action wasn't as good as John Wick 4. I'm like, well, John Wick 4. All these other ones are the, great action scenes. So it's still going to be a great movie. And that's how I feel about this. And again, my favorite character, Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
He's got a little Joker in him. Where it's like he's evil, and he knows he's evil, and you're not rooting for him, but you like seeing him on screen. Like all the best scenes that feel like it involves him, and I thought he's a really good character. Again, great action scenes. I'd say my favorite scene, kind of the main action scene where she's hiding underneath the rig and they're getting attacked, and it's probably 10-15 minute action scene where. I think that's when they first show up on the little propeller hang glider things, and I was like, oh, something new. That's pretty fun,
Yeah.
And then it has great use of sound. Like in my theater, my RFX, it was rocking. It was loud. It was going crazy.
Yeah.
But overall, it's a great film, if you ask me.
Most def. I like seeing the kind of interactions between him, Dementis, and Immortan Joe. I like seeing Immortan Joe back and all his crew. I was a little sad that it wasn't played by Hugh Keith-Burns again, who played Immortan Joe in the Fury Road. They got a younger guy doing it, but he did good. He did fine. And I liked that Immortan Joe you could see that he was not just like a dumb kind of dictator like Dementis. Like he was smarter. We talked about earlier, Dementis comes and meets with Immortan and has his whole posse crew and introduces Furiosa to him. immediately Immortan Joe's like, who's that? And he points to the organic mechanic. And he's like, I want him. Because he sees value and he sees, what he can use his power. Which is funny. Organic mechanic. I'm going to call doctors that from now on.
Organic mechanic.
But yeah, no, I think my favorite scene too was that long action sequence that you just talked about. There's just so much cool stuff going on there. The big rig they have. When I first saw it, I was like, how is Furiosa holding on to the bottom so she's got grip strength like no other. But you see that she has like a little a harness on that like slides her across from the bottom, and they have like cool things like that. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm glad they showed that. And a little world building there. You know how I like that. But yeah, just a lot of good stuff. I don't know.
You know Tom Burke?
No.
He's he's Furiosa's like mentor guy. He drives the rig.
Was it Proximus Jack or Proctor?
Yeah, Praetorian Jack.
Praetorian Jack, yeah.
Do you know who his godfather is?
Is it Francis Ford Coppola?
It's none other than Alan Rickman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
R.I.P.
So
Professor.
Stuck on that.
All right.
Yeah, I finally got you on one of these. I just saw it now. But.
Very good.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you got anything else? Any other things you wanted to discuss about the film here?
No, I think I mainly got it on my end here.
Very good. Well, Chris, do you know what it's time for?
I have no idea. How would I know? What time is it for?
Well, Chris, it's time for Unhinged Reviews. But
are you serious?
I am deadly serious, but I got a twist for you. And so, since we did a couple Unhinged reviews where we guess each other's movies based on the review, and you're clearly better than me. So what I thought I'd do is, George Miller has a rich history of filmography, just, very different kind of films. And so I'm going to read some George Miller reviews, and I need you to guess the name of the movie based on the review.
Ooh, all right.
All right. This first one is 2.5 stars. It says, if you told me this movie was completely unrelated to Mad Max Fury Road, I'd probably believe you.
If it was unrelated?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Mad Max 1? I don't know.
Correct, yeah. So I gave you a softball one there. This one is 3 stars. It says, Tarantino's favorite movie.
Something with feet, something with racial slurs. What is it? Happy Feet?
It is Happy Feet.
Oh,
good job.
Yeah.
There you go. You got it.
I didn't even think of the feet. No, that's
there
funny.
You go.
That makes sense.
This one is from Gray the Dot, 4.5 stars. It says, why didn't I get good at dancing when my dad dropped me on my head as a child?
Well, it's got to be one of the Happy Feet. I've never seen that. I'm going to say Happy Feet 1.
Happy Feet 1?
Or just Happy Feet.
You are correct.
Yes!
Good job, man.
So is that movie just a penguin gets dropped on their head and they dance?
Yep, that's the whole thing.
Oh, all right. And that's Elijah Wood, correct?
Yeah. This one is 5 stars from Sydney. It says, Marguerite Sixel, who's the editor, is director George Miller's wife. When she asked why he thought she could take on this project, as she had never edited an action film before, Miller replied, because if a guy did it, it would look like every other action movie.
Ooh, it's got to be one of the Mad Max. I'm going to say Beyond the Thunderdome.
Oh, Chris, you were doing so good. It's
Mad
Fury
Max
Road.
2. Fury Road? How old
Yep.
is his wife? Because he's like 80, isn't he?
Yeah.
So she just decided, has like a 70-year-old. I don't know how old she is. I was assuming they were
That's safe to
similar,
assume, yeah.
At 70, she's just like, you know what? Let's try editing a blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
Without any experience. That's pretty impressive.
That's pretty cool, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
This one's 1 star from Salome. Says, what the F is this film? I have never been more disoriented or overstimulated in my life. Nothing made any sense. Nothing made any sense. If I didn't live with my parents right now, I would suspect that I had somehow been drugged today because I literally can't make any sense of anything I just saw. Do I hate this movie? Do I love this movie? I've decided to go with 1 star with a heart, but I think my feelings might be more accurately conveyed if I could give it 5 stars and a dislike. It's kind of perfect. It's kind of the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I think I sustained some level of trauma tonight.
I'm thinking Fury Road here.
Fury Road?
Yeah. You
would be wrong.
Oh, Furios?
It's Babe, Pig in the City.
What? All right, fair enough.
Yep. All right, this one is 5 stars from Stephen Gillespie. It says, genuinely tremendous. Such a visual wit and so beautiful. It's a tremendously shot film with stunning production design, a wonderfully surreal world with an entrancing aesthetic. The plotting is so dynamic, the story has such pace and sets up so many marvelous set pieces. It just feels so energetic, and this is enhanced by terrific editing. You can see the genesis of other movies here with visual languages. The quick-cut flashbacks, the visualistic camera movements, and the storytelling in the action from perfect shot composition. This film rules, and it's charming and funny.
Well, I was thinking with the quick flashbacks, it's probably Fury Road, but charming and funny. I don't know if I'd use those 2 words to describe it. Maybe Happy Feet 2, there's some cutbacks, or Babe. I'm gonna go Happy Feet 2.
Ooh, it's Babe, Pig in the City.
Oh, gosh. I never liked those movies as a kid. Something about talking to animals didn't sit right with me.
Yeah, just crime against nature doesn't fit.
As a 5-year-old, my mother always read me Animal Farm, and I never trusted them since.
Yeah. This one is from Justin La Liberty, 5 stars, says, this whole movie is George Miller's best chase scene.
That's Matt Fury Road.
You would be wrong.
Seriously?
It's actually Babe, Pig in the City.
Do they chase a pig? What's going on here?
Now we need to go watch that movie, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
This one's from Jesse. Says, it's Furiosa, not Furiosa.
I'm guessing it's Furiosa.
Chris, you would be right.
Ah, yeah.
There it is. All right. This one is from Matt Singer. It says, to the person who brought the stinkiest shrimp scampi I have ever smelled in my entire life to the press screening of this movie, thank you for helping me experience the true horror of living in the wasteland firsthand.
I'm gonna go Fury Road.
Ooh, so close. It was actually Furiosa.
Are you even going out of order here? Are you just...
I'm just going ping pong in here all over the place.
Well, it seems like you did 3 in a row of Babe in the City and 2 in a row for Furiosa. All right, let's see what the next one is.
This one is 4.5 stars from Tyler. It says, a great prequel to Mad Max.
I think Furiosa would be too easy. I'm going to go with... probably Happy Feet 2.
That's a prequel to Mad Max?
Is it Furiosa?
Is it? What's your final answer?
I know you're trying to... Yeah, Happy Feet.
It's Babe, Pig in the City. All right, last one from Brian Tellerico, 5 stars. Angrier and tougher than the last movie, leaning even more into the idea that action inherently contains desperation, a willingness to do anything to triumph. The second hour of this movie is breathtaking, a blend of emotion and motion that moves so fast that it requires multiple viewings to watch everything. No one makes movies like George Miller.
Part of me wants to say Babe, Pig in the City. But I'm going to say a Babe, Pig in the City.
Chris, it's actually Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. Gotcha. Swindled you.
I think I lost my title here. I'm no longer good at guessing.
Oh, you're better than I would have done. By a long shot. Anyway, that's all I got for
Babe
you.
Films? Are you a big fan of the Babes and the Happy Feets?
I seen the first one, and the only thing I remember from it is when he's like, "That'll do, pig. That'll do."
Is that from Babe?
Yeah.
I heard the line. I forget. Yeah, I never liked Babe, never liked Giant Peaches. Something about those just really bugged me.
Yeah. No, yeah, they're all kind of gross.
Yeah,
anyway, maybe I'll watch Babe, Pig in the City because of these reviews. It sounds interesting.
I don't know if it'll live up to the hype. hyped like Terminator 2, Godfather Part 2, Batman 2, The Dark Knight. I don't know if it'll live up to these expectations.
It might not, but I'm going to watch it anyway. Anyway,
good luck.
Chris, I think that's all I got for Furiosa in this episode. Anything else you want to convey or?
Yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for listening. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, smash that subscribe button. Tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell the preacher next door. Tell them all. Put the ads on the newspaper or put it on the help wanted, whatever it takes, man. But I appreciate you, and that's all I got this week.
That's all I got, too. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Popcorn, stale popcorn. Popcorn. Pop, 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 pop.
This is the
Stale popcorn.
Popcorn!